My name is Rachel Chisholm and I am in the Larrakia Radio studios talking to one of the legends of Australian music and of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander music, Mr. Neil Murray. Thank you, Neil, for coming into the studio.
Oh, my pleasure, yeah.
So, Neil, you're coming to talk to all of us today, or talk to me today, in regards to two new albums that you've brought out and, about your journey.
Oh, well, yeah, my last album I brought out in 2014, the last original album. It's called Bring Thunder and Rain, so it's taken me a few years to get enough good songs to record, but my own album, Blood and Longing, was completed last year, and we released it in March this year, and it's just the kind of the songs I felt were the strongest recorded. And then the other thing there is this album with Sammy, which was a project started back in 2013 when I went back out to Papunya to see if we could write some tunes together. And we did, and it's been a lot of delays in that project, but finally that got completed too, and it's just been released and launched here in Darwin. It's part of the Darwin Festival.
Well, let's talk about this album that you wrote with the wonderful Mr. Sammy Butcher, which is called, I'm sorry, having trouble pronouncing that.
Jungle.
So you met him in 2013. You went to Papunya and you sat down.
Well, I went out to see him. I hadn't seen him for quite a while, and we hadn't done anything musically, but I just thought, well, as you know, the lead singer of the Warumpi Band passed away in 2007, so there's no chance of the Warumpi Band ever doing anything again. But I thought to myself, I wonder if Sammy and I could just do something, you know. So I went out there and we did a bit of mentoring of young musicians there, the Warumpi Band, his nephews and sons. But in the process, Sammy's always given me, I've learned so much from Sammy. I've got the greatest respect for him, you know.
Yeah.
And he's taught me a lot, and he just has this knack of giving me a spark, and then he might go away for a while, and I come back and I've got a fire going from some idea he's given me, you know. So we sort of worked like that a bit, you know. He might have a bit of a guitar chord and just a couple of lines, and then I'll sort of work on it. Or he'll tell me a story, you know. He told me the story of his grandfather's country, Pickle-Ye, so that's one of the songs on there. You know, and so most of the songs on Jungle, which means all in one, joined together, are from his life and his views. And I just felt really good, and I thought, how are we going to do this record? You know, we had no resources or anything. We did a crowdfunding campaign in about 2015 or something, raised a bit of money, and I got in touch with Jim Magini, who's a guitarist, keyboard player from Midnight Oil. Jim's been a great supporter of our music, and he also knew Sammy and had the greatest respect for him, and he just said, I'd love to be involved. I said, well, we'll need you. You know? So Jim came on as a producer, and we started initial recording of the beds in Adelaide at Mick Wordley's studio there in the Adelaide Hills, and Sammy was supposed to come to that, but the last minute he said, it's Papunya Sports Weekend, I can't come, you know. So I said to Jim, we'll just go ahead and do the beds, and then we'll get him on it after. And that's what we did, and then when we came to try and get Sammy on it after, he'd suffered the first of a couple of strokes, and he wasn't very well for quite a while, and so we thought, you know. But anyway, eventually we persevered, and we had help from Jeff McLaughlin in Tennant Creek, who recorded a bit of Sammy up there, basically playing one-handed guitar to the tracks, you know. And we actually, and then later on we got Sammy's niece on there, Crystal Butcher. She sings on a few tracks, beautiful vocals. Yeah. She was very important to the project. And even managed to get Sammy, he never saw himself as a singer, but we managed to get his voice on there a bit, especially doing some language in literature, some spoken word stuff. Yeah. And we had some more input from some generous benefactors who contributed some funds to enable us to really finish it off, you know, with really good editing and mixing time in the studio, and then really good mastering in Sydney. Yeah. And we're pretty happy with the result. Yeah, this is one of the first songs me and Sammy wrote together, and I remember I was in Papunya, this is back in 2013, 2014, just come around to where I was staying one lunchtime, and he just grabbed the guitar and he just started picking on this chord, C. And he gave me the line, I was standing alone on Ulumburru. Ulumburru is the range just behind Papunya. It's just very striking. It's just translucent. It goes into a sleeping woman range, and it's one of those features in the landscape there that's kind of magnetic. It keeps drawing you back, and he just gave me that line and that feel, and then he took off somewhere else because meeting him, and he had something else to do, you know. So I just had that gem of a start, you know, and then I sort of worked on it to get this song, and then when he came back in the afternoon, I played him what I had, and he said, yeah. So it's kind of talking about his life and how he feels and his connection to that country. So it's called Fine Open Country. I was standing alone on Ulumburru, watching the sun go down. I can see the lights of my homeland shine like stars on the ground. I was born and I'll die here, and I'm glad deep in my heart I belong to this fine open country from which I never will part. In the distance I see sheet lightning, I can smell the rain on the gentle winds. Soon the clouds will gather and my homeland will be quenched again. I was born and I'll die here, and I'm glad deep in my heart I belong to this fine open country from which I never will part. I raised a family and did all that was meant for me. When I'm gone, my children will stand in my place on this mountain. I was born and I'll die here, and I'm glad deep in my heart I belong to this fine open country from which I never will part. I belong to this fine open country from which I never will part.
Wow, I feel absolutely spoilt. Wonderful. Thank you.
With Sammy, that one. Yeah.
Beautiful. And that's off the album
Jungle, which is out now, available.
and to get Sammy Butcher to sing in
Yeah,
language.
he sang a little bit on it, you know. You can hear his voice there with mine a bit. And any of the language stuff, he's speaking that, yeah.
Yeah.
And he took a lot of care in deciding exactly what he wanted to say. But on the CD, there's a booklet in there and it's got translations to that. Yeah.
As well, to sing along. Now, you were saying when you were out in Papunya, for a while there you were just jamming and just making music, and young kids were coming around, and it was later on you realised, there's a message that can be put in these songs.
Oh, well, I first went to Papunya in 1980 to ostensibly get a job driving the store truck around the outstations, because they couldn't get an Aboriginal bloke to do it because the pressure on him from his family to give the food away free too much. It was hard enough for me to balance the books, but that was the initial reason I was hired. But I had a guitar with me and stuff, and Sammy must have heard about this new fella that arrived with a guitar, and he just turned up at my little flat, you know, knocked on the door one day, and I opened the door, and there's this cat there, and he says, "You got a guitar?" I said, "Yeah, I got a guitar." He said, "Can I have a look?" And I showed him the guitar, and of course he can play beautifully.
Yeah.
I said, "Wow, that's great. We've got a jam, you know." So we just, young fellas chucked in a bit of money, we bought a bit of gear, and we were away, and we just started off playing covers. But at the same time, the Aboriginal radio broadcasting was just starting to be developed by John McCumber and Philip Batty in Alice Springs, which eventually became Karma. And I knew both those fellas, and they said, we need you, Mob, to write songs in language. You want to play them on the radio? So that encouraged us to write songs in language. And we had people around like Frank Yama's father, Isaac Yama, was already singing songs in Pidginjara. Yeah. I mean, I heard that that great seminal song by Bob Randall, Brown Skin Baby. I first heard that sung in Pidginjara by Isaac. That was the words in Pidgin. They take my brown skin baby away, you know. And so he was an encouragement to us, particularly to me. He said some really nice things to me one time at a gig in Jay Creek. And so we were up and sort of playing around about the middle of 1980, and it wasn't until later that year that this skinny bloke with a shock of frizzy hair turned up in Papunya and said he was a singer man. And then he actually turned up to get married to Sammy's sister, so there was no way he wasn't going to be in the band. He turned up and he just wanted to be the front man, just wanted to sing, and he was into rock and roll and everything, so we were right. Then we had the tip of the spear, you know. We had the front man, and the rest is history, as I say.
Yeah, and then that was the beginnings of the Warumpi Band.
Yeah.
Jeez, what a... as I was saying, you are a music legend because you are one of the founding fathers of Aboriginal music, making it mainstream, so...
Well, there's others, as I said, there's lots of others around before us. There's people like Youngie Doug from New South Wales, and, you know, Harry Williams, Country House Guys. No Fixed Address were already out playing. There was... As I said, there was Isaac Yama, there was Cuckles in the West and Broome. There were others around doing stuff, you know. But we certainly, we were the first band to release a commercial single, as in a 7-inch vinyl single in 1983, of a pop rock song that was in an indigenous language of this continent. That was Jailingura Pakanu, Out from Jail, which Sammy and I wrote in about 20 minutes, inspired by seeing young fellas standing around the corner of streets in Alice Springs, but looking a bit lost, you know, but all clean shaven, fresh clothes and new handbag, and we'd drive past and we'd say, "Hey, you know, what's up?" And they'd yell out, "I just got out of jail." They say. See? So, and that was our first single, and went on from there.
Yeah, it hasn't stopped. We get requests all the time here at Larrakia Radio. Yeah, for Warumpi, always.
It's very, very, I don't know, it's very humbling to hear that, because everywhere I go over Australia, I was out at Broken Hill a couple of months ago, and countrymen out there said, "Oh, we still play Warumpi Band down in Wilcannia and everything, you know, everyone loves it still." Yeah. Sammy said once, he said, "We were a people's band, you know, really were for the people."
Yeah.
We kind of didn't quite have that mainstream success, but we did enough to kind of get known everywhere. But so that didn't matter. But if GR was still alive and we're all fit, we'd be much bigger now than what we were when we were up and about going around. But we did enough, we certainly inspired a lot of people.
Yeah.
Come after us, and I think a lot of people made them feel very proud. And I had a young fella in the Gulf country one day introduced himself to me and shook my hand, and he said, "Without your music, I wouldn't be alive."
Wow.
And I said, "Oh, thanks for that, brother." And at that moment, all the shit and frustration I'd been through in the music business didn't matter a damn. The fact that this young bloke told me that. And the older blokes around him were all nodding saying, "Yeah, that's right," So giving someone hope. You don't know what's happened with the song. You put it out there, but you don't know how it could really move someone to maybe change their life, and to have hope and to give them something, inspire them. Like songs can be very powerful in their effect on people. How they can move them and transform their lives. Even it might just be the catalyst someone needs to take that step. So it's Sammy and I just feel very, very humbled by it all. We feel that we have been mentors to a lot of people.
When I heard Warumpi Band, Coloured Stone, and Yorti back in the 90s, just knowing that Aboriginal people can push themselves further, that's what those bands and yourself means to me. It's like we can go beyond the stigma that some of us were brought up with, Yeah. So thank you for that. As you are a part of this, this influence of young Indigenous people, have you been mentoring a lot of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander artists in the years after Warumpi?
Everywhere I go, I usually meet someone, and I've done some stuff with co-writing with Warren Foster down at Ewan Country down there at Wallaga Lake there near Bermagui.
Yeah.
Everywhere I've gone, you sort of often I have occasionally still done workshop stuff in communities. Did some stuff at Uluru there a few years ago with the Mutijulu young people there. It's encouraging to see more and more girls, doing stuff, because I think they've been a bit absent, but they're starting to come out, being encouraged to. I mean, Sammy used to say to me, "I want to make an all-girls group, get the girls going." So I think it's pretty healthy. I think the scene's changed in terms of bands. Like when we were up and about, you could actually tour and support yourselves, going right around Australia, playing in towns and communities or whatever. But I think it's a bit harder to do that now. And,
I think so too.
Young people are into different forms of music with the hip hop and all that too. I don't know whether bands as so much can get out and tour like they used to.
Yeah.
And everyone's got devices. They've got different things competing for their attention. So I think we were up and about in an era that really was the best time for bands.
And it would have been great too, going into communities and showing it.
Oh, you were excitement, because it was before phones and anything. And there wasn't much happening, and all of a sudden this band turns up, and bit of excitement.
And the sports oval's just crowded, not on a footy night. So, in regards to your two albums, where are you taking them? You're heading down the track and doing little gigs here and there, but not with Sammy, of course.
No, he can't really go on tour with this thing at all. He's got a lot of commitments with the families out there, and there's a lot of sorry business on at the moment and things. I don't know if we can ever perform it again, but it may happen. We don't know. But he's. He loves the record. He reckons it's a hit. Everyone's talking. But I've got gigs myself down south. I'm going to do a couple of band gigs in Melbourne and Castlemaine. Then I've got to go around the coast to do some shows up to Sydney in late September, early October.
Yeah.
And I'll probably do a couple of songs from Jewel album in my own shows as well.
Yeah.
I'll have both albums with me and promote it on Facebook and all that, and people know it's there. So I feel Dawn will be a real long-term sleeper that anyone's a fan of the Warumpi Band will eventually
get to it.
Get that, because it's not the same as the Warumpi Band, but they can see the connection, and they can, with the kind of themes the songs talk about, they'll understand the direct lineage, if you like, from that. It kind of caps off our shared legacy, you know, for me and Sammy. And Sammy's got this wonderful wonderful kind of inclusive spirit, always wanting everyone to be involved and equally, you know. And if he hadn't had that, I wouldn't have ended up playing with him, because he kind of invited me to play, you know.
Yeah. With
them, you know, and they always had me in the band. It was never a thing like any question about. Just so we started playing together, and that's it, you know. We enjoyed it, you know. He's got that wonderful inclusive spirit. Yeah. And without which the Warumpi Band would never have happened, let alone this record. But it has, and I just think it'll stand the test of time. Yeah.
Yeah. Your legacies.
It's probably it's a bit warmer and easier listening compared to my solo album. Even my mother likes Do 'Em All better. She reckons my album's a bit gloomy. She loves all the guitar and stuff, and yeah. She knows Sammy, she met him a long time ago. So, but you know, while the songs come to me, I'll probably keep doing it, but I just can't say, you know. I can't write the same songs I did as a young man. Yeah. But I feel like I've got a lot of experience to bring to it now, and I'm writing. I just write about what moves me, you know. Yeah. And you know, just keep going as long as I can. You know?
Sounds good to me. Well, thank you so much, Neil, for coming into the studio and having a yarn just about your two new albums, as well as just your journey and being one of the country's founding fathers of indigenous rock and roll.
Wow, that's a big call. Thank you. Yeah. This is called In the Footsteps of Blackfellow Bob. From Damai. In the footsteps of Blackfellow Bob, let's follow one last walk with thee. Let's kiss goodbye to country, never again to see. We're fenced in on the missions, the squatters stole our homes. So before I lose a memory dear, let's take to the country and roam. I'll sing you the song of the water in the soft woman's valley I lie, by the side of Garrywood Mountain where my soul longs to fly. I'll sing you the ways of the wetlands, the crane, the bittern and swan. I'll show you the cave that lies hidden in the footsteps of Blackfellow Bob. There's history and paint you'll dream on, and stars tell a story by night. We'll settle back in the evening, cook supper by firelight. We'll find the cache of old weapons, the boomerang and spear. To the farmer that showed us kindness, we'll give them to him for free. When it's time to return to the mission, I'll let you go ahead. I'll stay behind in the valley, lay my weary head. You'll hear me in the wetlands and the song of a chorus of frogs. You'll feel me whenever you're walking in the footsteps of Blackfellow Bob. You'll feel me whenever you're walking in the footsteps of Blackfellow Bob.